Hey, what's up, you guys? Yes, today we're back at it again, and I will be eating on camera because I'm hungry. I'm hungry, because I'm hungry. As a great man once said, I'm hungry and I'm hungry. Is that actually how I say it? That's funny. Hello. How are y'all? Can you hear me well? Is everything going okay in everyone's life? Yeah. Hey, queens. You did it again. Once again, raising the bar for all of us. Okay. Got 14 people on here. I need water really quickly. Okay, the 17 people on here. Send likes. I'm gonna go refill water, and I'll be back. Okay. Raw. What about Lebanon? What happened in Lebanon? In what capacity? So the reason I get IDF people up here is because they're stupid. So, just to be clear. I can talk about my strategy regarding this, but basically the point is you want to get non-trained publicists and non-trained propagandists up here talking so that we get something closer to what they believe. They are by and large stupid. By and large, they're much worse at lying than Israel is, even though Israel's quite bad at lying. They will get reprimanded. The goal is not to change their minds. The goal is to show how much propaganda is needed to believe in order to support Israel. And if you can completely and utterly impeach their credibility, you completely and utterly impeach the credibility of all of Israel. Right? Yeah. Hope that makes sense. If you have a disagreement with that strategy, come up and... don't come up, but DM me and we can talk. But that's generally the goal. But if y'all think, hey, this guy's dumb, I know more than him, he's wrong, I'm pro-Israel, send a guest request. Guest requests are on. And guest requests are cool. So send a guest request and we can get talking. Am I flying back to America tomorrow? Yes, I am. Do I have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning? Absolutely I do, yeah. Okay. Is this live gonna move? A few people have changed their opinion after I've debated them. A few people. It's not the majority, and it's not really the goal either. The goal is much more the audience than it is the person I'm debating. To equip the audience with arguments, to equip the audience with rhetoric. How's school going? Really well. No. The UK government hasn't contacted me yet. No, Keegan, your comments have been nice. I still need to read the Patreon comments, but yeah. Anyway, 140 people on here. 140 people can do some good liking. So if 140 people share this live, if 140 people like this live, that'd be great. Thank you so much to the roses. That boosts the live as well. Thank you so much. They really should not mean everything to you, but I really appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. I didn't actually meet the Palestinian ambassador. I went to a talk by him. I had dinner like right next to him, which was really cool. He was really chill. He was really nice. So yeah. I have a picture with him now. So yeah, that was cool. One of my friends gave him a gift. Because, yeah. Very cool. Talked really well. Anyway, I'd love to talk to one of you. So if you disagree with this, send a guest request. Or if you're pro-Israel overall, send a guest request. Why am I against the LGBT? I'm not. I mean, I'm... Do I need to make it more obvious to anyone? USMC, what is that? United States Marine Corps? No. Just eat. Oh, sorry. Okay. Am I in England right now? Yes. I mean, I'll eat if I want to, homies. But anyway, please send a guest request. Otherwise, we're just going to be sitting here talking. I don't really have anything to talk about. I don't really cover the news because that's boring. Why am I up so late? Because my food took forever to get here. What's my major? I study law. I do a BA in jurisprudence. So, it is 1:30 here. Because it's a good evening. Wake up to a... You think you have intelligence, but you're indoctrinated. Love, there's an apostrophe there. And an extra letter. You're weak. At least you spelled it right. Very proud of you. Do you think you'll get a job in the U.S. or elsewhere? I'll probably try and get a job in the U.S. We'll see. There are a lot of Zionists in the comments. Okay. Ever study common law? What about federal citizen status? So I study UK law. Not technically UK law. I technically study the law of Wales and England. So, that's why. What's funny is there are a lot of Zionists in the comments, but from my view, there are not any Zionists in the guest requests. So, Interesting how that's happening. When I say Zionist, I'm typically referring to a person who supports the current political entity of Israel as it stands. So, U.S. federal corporation. See, there's a lot. Hey, have we got a guest request? Yes, we do.
Hey, good evening, bro. You doing okay?
I'm doing real well. How about you?
I'm doing great. Um, I'm not here to disagree. I'm here to discuss because
Sure, sure, sure.
even though I do support Israel, I do definitely agree that the U.S. needs to stop funding the IDF and let them handle their own problems because Israel is definitely committing heinous acts. I'm not one to deny the truth. I definitely see that. There needs to be a ceasefire and there needs to be a release of hostages from both sides. But to what was I going to say? But me supporting Israel, it's not because I'm a Zionist, because actually I'm anti-Zionist. But I'm a Christian, and I in the Bible it states that Israel is God's country. So of course I support Israel. But their acts that they're currently committing, I do not support whatsoever because that is literally a genocide going on in Palestine right now.
Wait, let's talk about the biblical Christian view. So you support Israel as a Christian,
As a
right?
Christian, yes.
What what does that story look like? What is the end of Israel in the Bible, in the biblical portrayal of the Jews returning to Israel?
Well, there's plenty of ways to look at that because they're coming from like
How do
different
you see it?
translations and hmm. That's a very interesting question. I will be thinking about that for a little bit because the way I
Because
see
from
it,
my understanding of the common word of the Bible regarding that is that it doesn't turn out very well for those Jews.
oh, it doesn't. It doesn't. And
No, so it's a
but
fundamentally anti-Semitic reason to support Israel on the Christian
oh yeah,
basis.
I am
Because
anti-Semitic.
it ends
I'm
in fundamentally one of the worst conceivable outcomes for the Jews, if that's why you believe it. So while maybe you have some heart regarding their actions against the Palestinians, you supporting Israel for that reason is horrendous, isn't it? Because it ends up with horrendous actions happening to those Jewish people that do move there.
well coming. Okay, I see where you're coming from, and I get your point. But what it is that my faith is going to my faith is definitely going to how can I word this without setting off a firecracker? My faith definitely it influences my judgment more than anything else because obviously I'd want to make it to heaven. So of course I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
and it's influencing you to be anti-Semitic.
in a sense, yes, it is
Then you
because I
should
don't.
not have that faith because it's disgusting.
Well, to say that that's attacking my religion, so that's not really
Okay, I'll attack your religion if it's anti-Semitic.
okay. But there's a difference between being anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist,
There is,
and I'm not anti-Semitic. I am
and you're both.
anti-Zionist. Uh, okay, you know what? I do see where you're coming from, but well, in this situation, let's just say that I'm not anti-Zionist. Let's just say I'm anti creating a permanent residence in Palestine. That's the wording I'm
You're
going
still
with.
supporting Israel for anti-Semitic reasons. You can't really get around that.
Well, actually, no, because in the Bible it states that Israel is God's country. I am not Jewish. I am not of the Jewish faith. I am Christian. But Israel in the Bible, it is named as God's country. So that's why I'm supporting Israel as a country, not for the reasons that other people are supporting Israel.
Not on the basis of revelation.
Well, that's a whole different conversation, though.
I think that's a pretty relevant conversation. Also, we're getting really bad feedback from your side. Is there anything we could do about
Hold
that?
on, let me put on my AirPods real quickly because I'm talking to my phone right now. Let me put these in.
In that second, I'm gonna go refill my water.
Does it sound any better right now? Okay, go.
Yeah, there we are.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Okay. So you're saying it's because it's God's country. Are Palestinians not godly people?
Well, that's a whole different. Okay, I'm not saying they aren't godly people. They support a different, or they worship a different God from what I worship. But I'm not.
No, they don't.
That's not the reason that I am not
They don't.
Palestine.
Same
To
God,
you,
babe.
it is
They
not
don't.
because it's not.
No, in the exact same way that the Jews support a different God, Muslims support a different God. But also in the exact same way they support the same God. So it is all the Abrahamic God. They just have different conceptions of
Yes,
what that God
it
did.
is an Abrahamic God, but when I say that we don't support or we don't worship the same God, I'm saying we don't follow the same rules in a religion. So
Jews don't
I'm
follow the same rules as you either.
they they don't. But
So
there's an
why wait, why are Jews godly people and Muslims not?
I never said that Muslims were not godly people. I said we
Why
don't
are why
follow
are
the
Jews
same
following
God
the same God and not Muslims?
because they're two different religions.
So explain to me why one is the Christian God and one isn't.
That's the thing. Christian God, it is of the Christian faith. We
So are
follow
Jews
different,
following the same God as Christians?
but under different rules. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. Their word is slightly different than ours, but we still perceive the same God just under different rules and under different books.
And so do the Muslims.
Of course, they have the Quran.
Okay. So the Jews are just as related to the Christian God as the Muslims are related to the Christian God.
Yeah, they're all
So the
under the
question is why
Abrahamic
you would
faith.
support a Jewish state in this area and not, for example, a Muslim state in the area, if it is merely about relationships with the Christian God.
If it is merely about relationships, okay, you got me there. But for me to be supporting Palestine, because what I'm about to say is definitely going to set off a bit of a excuse my language shitstorm. But historically, Palestine has never been a country. It's not a state, not anything. It has been a territory claimed by many different people.
Yep, and there's
And
literally never been an Israel of the current territory either. So,
mhm. But oh wait, hold up. I was going a completely different route. I was going to go off topic, but I'm going to stay on topic. For I don't exactly agree with Muslims and Jews and Christians all
you're going
believing
in
the
and out.
same.
The mic is going in and out. I don't know if that's just me, but I can't hear it. Like it's like maybe every 10 seconds it's going in and out.
Okay, hold on. Let me. Okay. Is that any better?
We'll see.
Okay. Where were we at in our conversation?
You started the nonsense about Palestine not having been a state.
Oh, right. So historically, Palestine has never been a state. There's never been a Palestinian state, country, nothing. It's only been a territory. Palestine has always been a territory historically. Israel didn't exist until 1940. I'm not sure of the exact year, but it's somewhere around
48,
there.
love. 48 or
48. Okay.
47.
Okay. So with Israel being an actual established state instead of just being a territory like Palestine, would you not agree that let's take what happened on October 7th. Would you not call that Israel having the right to defend themselves from that? Now, of course, there's the argument that there's been an occupation in Palestine and it's been going on way before October 7th. But Israel pulled out of Palestine in 2005. Israel
No, they
completely pulled
didn't.
out.
That's not true.
Yes, yes, they did.
They pulled out of
Israel
Gaza, love. Partially.
fully, they completely pulled out. No
Of
occupation,
Gaza.
nothing.
Gaza isn't all of Palestine.
That's my poor wording of choice. That's my poor choice of words. Israel
It's
completely
just
pulled.
flagrantly incorrect. But okay. Yeah.
But you can't deny that Israel completely pulled out of Gaza, though. They did.
I can deny that, actually. When they implemented a complete air and land blockade on them since 2012.
You realize the implications that came with that, though, right? You realize the reason why they did that.
I understand their excuses for their actions, but I'm just talking about the reality, not their narrative. Right. So in fact, they still haven't had an occupation because, surprise, surprise, a blockade is an occupation. Okay. Under international law, it's recognized as an occupation. Secondarily, the Palestinian state is a internationally recognized state. So the idea that
Oh,
somehow Israel has a greater right to exist or right to self-defense than the Palestinian state does is nonsense. The PA, right, the Palestinian Authority is internationally recognized and internationally implemented in exactly the same way as Israel was, only it's actually following international law. Israel is not following the international law, right? So if anything has less a claim to the international right to defend itself, it's going to be the country that is actively, consistently violating international law, actively, consistently condemning the actors and courts and implements of international law like the UN and ICC and ICJ, right? Which Israel does.
hmm
So no, is my ultimate answer.
so but would you
No,
consider? I'm not going to use the word territory. I'm going to use the word state here. Would you consider Palestine to be a state if it never had a stable governing body?
it
Because
did have
it
a
went.
stable governing body.
It wait, wait a second. So what is what is the word? Is it Fatah, whatever it is?
Fatah, the
I'm not
PLO.
gonna. Mhm. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm not gonna
Yasser
butcher
Arafat
it.
was a PLO representative that was a stable organization. It has always had terroristic organizations within it, right? So have many
Okay,
places,
wait. Before we
right? But
even
they
get to
have
the
had a state implement, right? That has been
whole
recognized as
terrorist stuff, let's not do that yet. I'm talking about a true stable government that has never been overthrown. Let's leave Hamas out of this. Let's just focus on I'm not I'm still not sure how to pronounce it, but
Fatah.
Fatah. Okay, let's just focus on them for a second. Would you consider them a stable governing body?
You don't have to be stable to be a state.
Well, then it's not a state. Well, I by
It's not true.
definition it's a state, but it's not. I wouldn't perceive it as a state unless it has a
And you
true
would
stable
perceive it
governing
incorrectly
body.
then. That's fine.
Well, perception is subjective. So
Yes, and your
there
subjective perception is incorrect.
well, who are you to determine that though? If it's subjective,
International law.
so you say internationally Palestine was recognized as a state.
Hmm.
By who? If you can name me just five countries, please. Like
By the UN, brother.
The
by
UN,
America.
Palestine was never recognized as a state by the U.S.
It was, right?
It wasn't.
That's how they went into the Oslo Accords.
Oh, no, 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 no. And look, I have citations for this.
So just to be very clear, right? Under the Oslo Accords, they recognized Palestinian land claims. They did not explicitly recognize the statehood within the UN, right? But recognizing land claims and a governing body, that's recognizing statehood, just to be clear. The US has been extraordinarily iffy on their statehood of Palestine, right? But they've recognized valid land claims of Palestine, of a Palestinian authority. So, I don't know where he went, by the way. So, it's on him. Okie dokie. If you disagree with me, send a guest request. If you don't disagree with me, drop out a guest request. Like, if you agree with me, leave. Please. Love you. And also, I'm not going to fight for anything, lol. I'm a pacifist, love. Hello. Do you disagree with me? Hello. What did you send a guest request to disagree on?
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't realize I was on. It's a shame that he went, actually. Can you hear me okay?
Don't know what he was doing.
Come from, and I talked to Chris about this before, and he was like,
Yo, what's
"Are
up?
you sure they're referring to TikTok and not Cumtown?"
You can guest request later. Send a guest request if you disagree with me. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, what'd you send a guest request to disagree on?
Hey, so I disagreed. I don't disagree with you about Palestine, but I disagree about you accepting the premise that the guy earlier was trying to convey that like statehood itself matters when you're analyzing the situation. Because I don't think it's relevant at all and should immediately be discarded when people try to bring up did Palestine exist like as like a state that like was recognized by whoever. Because it's irrelevant to the fact that there were like villages and homes there that were removed, like where people were removed at gunpoint. They had a society. Like I don't think it's relevant whether or not, like whoever recognizes it as a state when you have actual human beings living somewhere and they're removed by force by a hostile outside population. Like, does that make sense?
I mean, we can debate the merits of the modern day nation state, and I think we're probably going to find agreement. But when we're condemning Israel for violation of international law, international law premises the relevance of statehood, and therefore so must the condemnation. And that's kind of the premise that the PLO has taken and the PA has taken by and large to follow international law and the international system. So it's the like organization that I'm going to take as well. Even though if ultimately you and I agree that like the international system is fundamentally based on a flawed concept of the nation state. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. Then we're probably on the same page. Then I'll just let you debate somebody who's probably like has more clash with you.
Hey, well, I appreciate coming up then. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Send a guest request if you disagree with me. Send a guest request if you disagree with me. There we go. Hello.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, what'd you send a guest request to disagree on?
No, I didn't actually. I don't actually disagree with you. I actually sent the request earlier when the ridiculous chap earlier on was on the Christians and non-Zionist Israel non-Zionist supporter of the Israeli state. I hope he's still listening, but it'd be nice if he comes back on so that we can correct him about his misunderstandings. I mean, first of all, there is no mention of Israel being the chosen state or the chosen people. That's all a load of nonsense. It's not in the Bible. It's a misinterpretation. It's a Zionist misinterpretation. It's also part of the Schofield reference deception, the Schofield reference Bible deception. The man was a fraud. He was paid by Zionists to come up with this. I mean, he was a convicted fraudster. And but he was obviously eloquent in the English language, and so he was
Right.
paid.
Well, I'm actually gonna like stop you there, just because I do want to have someone who disagrees up here, just because that's kind of the format here. But I appreciate.
But great job to you, brother. Well done for you. Well done to you.
Thank you. See how awkward that gets, everyone? Hi, Josh.
So your statement here says end all U.S. military funding of the IDF until heinous acts of the IDF are done. And I disagree with the statement because
you want to wait. Can I just guess? Because you want to end it permanently? Question mark? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, yeah.
Cool. So we don't disagree. Great.
Well, if your statement says until, that qualification, and you're asking if we're
at least until, it's an implied at least until.
Well, it should say at least until then, because we shouldn't be funding it at all.
I think you know what my position is if you watch me for like more than 2 seconds. It's to articulate like precisely what I'm attacking currently, right? And it's how we use diplomacy currently. But you and I agree. I'll try and look for someone who disagrees. I appreciate it.
All right, Don.
Wait, sorry. Thank you. I just knew from the tone what the argument was going to be. Can I get like a little bit of props for that? Like, that's a little fun. Okay. Hello.
What's up, brother?
What's up? What'd you send a guest request to disagree on?
Probably every single thing.
Great. Why?
Well, can you get a little more specific on heinous acts?
So the direct and flagrant violations of international law, that stands for one. The complete, disregard for international law and Palestinian lives and civilian lives. The targeting of civilian areas and the disregard and recklessness regarding civilian areas when attacking militants. The flagrant lies that they've said to the international community regarding the brutalization that happened on October 7th.
I'm willing to accept every argument you stated, but I don't understand why is it so one-sided. I mean, international law is being violated across the board, I guess you could say that.
Yeah, and are we funding Hamas?
Are we funding Hamas? I mean, probably. Because if you really...
Do you think we should be funding Hamas?
No, I don't think we should be funding Hamas. But
so do you think we should be funding the IDF?
If you know anything about histories of war in general...
No, I'm just asking.
The powerhouse typically has a vast interest in having parties being in a conflict. So I would say that my uneducated guess is that, yes, we have some sort of funding, either through a proxy or through a third party, but yeah. That would be my guess.
Yeah, sorry. Just gonna go.
I mean, that's just how war works if you look at it historically, right?
It depends how historically you're talking. Within the past 70 years, perhaps, yes.
No, I mean, we know this from age, every major crisis throughout history, well, modern history, going back to World War II, every single crisis, whether it was the Serbian crisis, whether it was
70 years.
Else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The 70 years when we were in a monopolar world.
Right.
Yeah,
sure.
that's fine.
So
precisely what I
I
said.
will always
Very
say
cool.
this, and
So
again,
the
I
thing
am
is what you're saying doesn't
just for
actually
the
support
record, I'm
any
gonna go
argument
ahead and
against
say that
me.
I'm Israeli, so everybody kind of gets on board. So so you understand where I'm at. But
I don't
obviously,
care about your nationality.
no. I want to let everybody know. So there's no bias going around of any sort. So
There's no bias with you being
no, for
Israeli.
sure. Yeah. No, I
Intriguing.
don't think you're Israeli. I don't want Either way, I just want to make sure that it's known on the record.
Okay, cool. Very cool. So if you're admitting that Israel is committing war crimes,
I'm
I
not
don't think America
necessarily
should be
admitting it.
funding war
I'm not
crimes.
necessarily admitting it. It's not
Well, you said I'll
necessarily an
concede to
admission.
those arguments, so that's an
Look. In the end
admission,
of the
love.
day, nobody that's not on any type of like military board really knows what's going on. I've seen a lot of fake stuff going from both sides. I'm not gonna lie. A lot
Okay,
of
then
fake
I shouldn't be
things.
funding either.
Well, if you really look into it, it's not really funding that the Israeli military is getting. It's basically credit so we can buy weapons from them. And I am not a big supporter of getting any type of funding, but not for the reasons that you think.
Why do you
I
not
think
support
that
funding?
I think that Israel should not be dependent on anybody, but it should be self-sufficient. And I don't
I don't
think that
think
Israel.
I don't think there's a world in hell where Israel is self-sufficient.
I think you're absolutely wrong.
I don't think the economics supports you.
So if you
I don't
really
think a
look
single
into it,
economic,
if
like
you
a
really look
single
into it, the
reasonable
annual
economic
budget,
analysis would support
if
what
you
you're
really
saying.
look
It's
at
just
it, the
nonsense.
annual budget of Israel that gets funded from the United States is 3%. So if you really look into it, 3%
Yeah,
is a
no.
lot. I
But
mean,
how
of
much
course,
of that budget would be affected if you cut off the free trade deals that you have with the West? How much of that budget would change if you didn't have direct military intelligence integration with the West?
well, I
Right?
mean, it goes
Like,
both ways. It's not. There's a difference between business per se than just getting straight out funding based on ideology, right? Of like Israel being like, quote unquote, a base in the West or in the Middle East for
I mean,
United
it is.
States.
That's why you have free trade.
Right, of course, but there's also a give and a take. That Israel does a lot of things in return, so it's not like
Yeah, but there's
just
a
a.
reason that we don't have free trade with Egypt or free trade with Jordan or free trade, right, with Saudi Arabia in the same way we
Sure.
do with Israel. It's because
Well,
we
you
are
do with
actively
Saudi
attempting to
Arabia,
prop up Israel's
you
economy.
do.
And Israel's military spending is simply not sustainable on its economy. But this is an economic question. If you think we should cut off the free trade, if you think we should cut off the preferential treatment that Israel gets from Europe and from America, we're going to be in complete agreement. Right. I support no aid. I support no military integration. I support no intelligence integration. I support no free trade preferential treatment on that side. And if we agree on that, that's cool. Right. That's
Okay.
kind of all the diplomatic aims. Then we kind of agree, and America should stop flexing its diplomatic arms. They shouldn't have gone through the Abraham Accords where they recognized, disputed territories of land for places like Morocco or Egypt or Jordan or South Sudan. No, or Sudan. It's just difficult to see how you could live without the West's support. But if you think you can, be my guest. That's fine.
Well, Israel is a very self-sufficient country, so I
It
mean
never has been and never will
that's just
be.
a
That is
factual thing,
utter
right?
revisionist history.
Huh?
That is utter revisionist history. It has literally never been and literally never will be. It cannot be self-sufficient.
So what are you basing that on?
Literally all of Israel's history.
No, I mean actually provide type of an example. Beside the U.S. military funding, that it's not really funding; it's just credit. It's basically a way for the U.S. to make
Once
more
again,
money.
you're repeating the one point you know, and I've made other points. Do you remember the other points I made?
No, you spoke pretty quickly while you were eating. You were chewing a lot, so it's kind of hard to understand you.
Did you hear the words free trade?
I have.
Okay, so you did hear my point.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I don't really necessarily understand that point.
What's confusing about a free trade agreement?
I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing confusing about it, but what does it have to do with Israel not being self-sufficient?
Because the free trade agreement is fundamentally there to prop up the Israeli government.
What does Israel actually? And also, Israel is a big maker of weapons as well. But that's just.
Oh, why is it a big maker? Who does it sell those weapons to?
Who does it sell it to?
Yeah.
Israel, the Uzi gun, for example, the Uzi rifle. You can check. You can Google it right now. You'll see that.
By and large, to the West, brother. So if the
Okay,
West
and
stopped buying
what's
their
your point
products,
with that? It's like such a retarded point to make.
well, no,
Obviously,
we're not going to use that
there's a
term.
trade back and forth.
Wait, no, I'm going to stop you there. No. It was mediocrely tolerable speaking to you. I have other guests. We're going to use respectful terms. That was nasty. Okay. Let's keep going with a little bit more fun, and then we'll try and go to bed at some point. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing real well. How about you?
Not bad. Did you ever serve in the military?
God, no. I wouldn't serve in that terrorist organization.
Oh, terrorist, huh?
Yeah, one of the largest perpetrators of war crimes in the world.
I'm so glad you live in a delusional world.
I mean, both of my parents grew up in military families. I use USA. I'm well aware of the military. I'm well aware of what goes on in there. I have 8 active duty cousins. Like, I'm quite intimate with the military, and I despise that despicable organization. It's one of the largest perpetrators of terror in the world, and it has propped up horrendous regimes for the past 40 years.
I really wish you knew history. I really do.
Teach me the history. Teach me. Okay, let's talk about it.
Open a book. Read.
This is what an eloquent argument. Do we need to start listing them out? Nicaragua, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil, Peru, Argentina. Let's go now to Eastern Europe. We have all of Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, Kosovo, Serbia, Czechia. Okay, then we can go to Africa, right? They've undone regimes in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. They've gone through Nigeria, Niger, Algeria, Libya, Tunisia, Egypt, right? Like, how many more do we need to go through? I can talk about the history of these places. Like, if you just tell me to open a book, I'm going to tell you the books that I've read, and you're not going to be pleased with yourself, right? Tell me an actual argument rather than just attacking me for ignorance you don't know that I have and I don't have.
I'm not attacking you.
You're just speaking nonsense. So speak something
attacked.
productive. You said open a book. Do you think that that's a mature argument to make?
Well, first off, you're talking about a lot of countries that had civil wars.
Civil wars, one side which was funded by the U.S., brother.
What civil war was funded by the U.S.?
Panama. Nicaragua.
Tell me
Honduras.
how Panama,
Guatemala.
tell me how
Colombia.
Panama
Cuba.
Tell me how Panama was funded by the U.S.
Because they agree. Wait, bro, you actually don't know this?
Oh,
the
no,
way
I
that
do.
we got the Panama. Wait, this is hilarious. Okay, so
We did
I
the
believe
Panama
the origins
Strait.
were. It's not hard. Like, if we want to open a book, I can pull it out, brother. But so the Panama Canal, right? Panama used to be a part of. Actually, let's just. You came after my intelligence, so I think this is fair. Do you know what country Panama used to be a part of?
Panama has always been Panama. Panama has been Panama since I'm trying to think of it was 18 something.
Oh, do you know what country it used to be a part of?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you think it is appropriate then for you to tell me to open a book?
I just know that Hamas is a terrorist organization. And for
Do you
to
think that has anything to do with
Israel,
what I
that's
just
been
asked you?
around since the Bible, is doing
Israel's been
war
around
crimes.
since the Bible, brother?
Oh God, yes.
Israel has?
Israel's been, yeah. Where do you think the Jews started? In
Israel's
Jerusalem.
been around
And
consistently
Egypt
since biblical
was taking
time.
them as slaves. It's in the Bible. It's in the Quran
Oh, I'm so sorry.
about
Okay.
how Egypt was taking the Jews as slaves.
Few things. First of all, no. The Jews escaped Egypt into Canaan. Number two, the Jews do not even claim that Israel has existed consistently since biblical times. That's no theology's view. No one believes that. Since the fall of the Second Temple, Jews do not believe that Israel has existed, and they believe that it needs to be refounded. Hence the refounding of Israel and the rebuilding of the Third Temple, right, in 1948 and following it. Okay. So it is literally no one's view that Israel has existed since biblical times. I don't know where you're getting that. There's no theology that believes that, because it's utter nonsense too, right? The Ottomans occupied that territory. The Greeks occupied that territory. The Romans occupied that territory, right? A huge amount of different places occupied that territory of varying faiths, many of which did not call it Israel, many of which called it Palestine or Palestine. So literally no one agrees with you. Like, you're literally just making shit up.
Palestine
and I don't know
was
why.
never a nation. Was never established a nation.
And Israel, under its current borders, was never established a nation either. And what?
1948 it was.
You know what was established at the exact same time? Wait, you know what was established at the exact same time as Israel in 1948?
What's that?
I'll give you one guess.
Keep on your quarter pound, bitch.
What did you say?
It's the radio.
Okay. Do you have your guess ready?
Go ahead.
No, it's your guess. You got just one country that was established at the exact same time. Palestine. Palestine was established at the exact same time. The Palestinians just didn't agree with the plan, and the Israelis unilaterally claimed the plan, in violation of international law, by the way. So the Israelis illegally declared independence on a plan that needed approval by the Palestinians. So they had the exact same claim. Since then, the Palestinians have actualized actually a lesser plan. Okay, they've actualized less than that territorial gain. So they have an equal, if not greater, claim to that land as the Israelis do, because they did not claim it in violation of international law. Okay? So, no. If your argument is from 1948, the Palestinians have the claim to the 1948 claim as well, which is well more extensive than the West Bank and Gaza.
The Palestinians have the claim to the 1948 claim as well.
Oop. Valpak, you said that like twice. Just scroll away then, brother. Ooh. This will be interesting. Should I speak to him? I'll do the classic thing.
Yo,
Yo, what's up, Utah?
I'm doing well, brother. No animosity. You know, a lot of what you're saying is actually true. So I don't really, I just want to say you're spitting a lot of truth. So I'm not even really here to debate. A lot of what you're saying is historically accurate. The main thing I think that you're getting wrong is that it was Israel first. It was Israel first, bro. So, like if you had an iPhone and I stole your
Sorry, Utah, but I have one question for you in a second. But first of all, was the kingdom of Israel that split off into the kingdom of Israel and Judea, were those the current territory boundaries of Israel? Are the modern territory boundaries of Israel the same as the then territory boundaries of the
No,
Kingdom of Israel, Judea?
no, no.
Great. Yeah, that's the whole argument. Now, Q-Top,
Yeah.
what do you believe the age of consent should be?
All right, bro. Dude, come on, Will, bro.
What do you
I'm
think
here.
no, wait, Q-Top, it
Bro,
should be really
Will,
easy
I'm
to
here.
answer.
I'm
What do
trying
you
to
think the
give
age
you,
of
bro.
consent should be?
Bro, Will, I'm here. Literally, I'm being so respectful, bro. And it's
Yeah,
what you're
but your
doing.
views aren't respectful to children. So
All
what do
right,
you think the
bro.
age of consent should be?
Bro, God bless you, bro. The age of consent is whatever the Bible says the age of consent is, because I believe in the word of God.
Right. And
So
what do you understand the
so,
Bible to say the age of
so,
consent to
bro,
be?
you have the Bible,
Explains a
bro.
lot of the actions of people
Will,
of your faith.
come on, bro.
Bye-bye.
Will,
Bye-bye.
Well, I'm not even leaving though, bro. Like, I just don't know why you're acting like this, man. Because it's so uncalled for. Like, I'm up
Because
here
you
and I'm.
support despicable acts against
I
children,
really,
Q-Top.
bro. All right, bro, dude. Well, you have a blessed day, bro. I really hope you find Christ though, because
You
like
have the day you deserve.
I'm generally coming up here, bro, and like I'm being so like I could have came up here and just genuinely
Yeah,
just
but your
been
beliefs, you could have
disrespectful,
been a horrible
but
person. More. But
I
your
really
beliefs are
hope that
still
you find.
disrespectful to children
I
and
really
anyone
hope
that
that
cares
you
about them.
find. I really hope
So
that you find Jesus Christ, right? Because the thing is, you're not the arbiter of
I
morality,
found
bro.
him and he looks gorgeous up on that
You,
crucifix, brother.
no,
But
bro.
if you
Whoa.
want
Okay.
for me to care
Wow.
about
Oh my
you
gosh, bro.
in
Wow.
terms of
Bro,
respect, then
dude.
respect the consent of
Bro, you are
children.
literally, bro, Will. Bro, Will, bro. Genuinely, and I feel bad for you because you're actually
Now, what
lost.
age were you talking about? What
Bro, I
age were you
feel
talking
so
about?
lost,
The age
bro,
of consent
because you
being?
deserve Will. There's a reason why God made hell. You have a blessed day. He made it for people just like
There's the
you.
maturity I was talking about. I think he does want me. Once again, Q-Top, you came up here and was like, I'm being so respectful, blah, 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 and then literally told me I was just going to burn in hell. What are you talking about, brother? Why'd you run away?
Yeah, so it's more, you understand that it's me being so respectful by telling you the truth, right? Jesus literally said, "Repent, for the
And
kingdom
I'm
of heaven
telling
is
you
at
the
hand."
truth as well, that you
Jesus,
are,
bro,
acting
you
in
don't
a way that
create
is quite
morality,
typical of
Will.
your faith.
Will, you don't create morality, bro. So you're not
So
okay.
Q-Top has
Check this, hypothesis, bro.
Q-Top, just
You
be
are,
honest.
bro,
Wait, no, if you
bro.
think
If
you're so
you do not
correct,
believe in Jesus
tell
Christ, you
us
are
the
going to
age. One
burn
second.
for
No, Q-Top.
eternity in hell.
Okay, I'm just gonna kick you,
You are going,
quite
yeah,
simply.
run away, bro. Run away. Just run away.
Run away. You're the one that left,
Prove to
Q-Top.
me God doesn't exist. Prove God doesn't
Okay,
exist.
that's not the topic of this live.
Yeah, that's what I
Q-Top.
thought, bro, because you're running. Yeah, so Will, you're
Wait,
gonna burn
so
it.
Q-Top, few
Bro,
things.
Will, you're gonna
Q-Top,
burn in hell,
once again,
bro.
I'm very
You're
able
gonna
to kick
burn
you.
in
You just
hell,
need
Will,
to
if
be
you don't
quiet for 2
repent. I
seconds.
love you.
If you think you are so correct and you want to state the truth so bad,
Okay.
tell me the age that you think consent is valid at.
I don't have a okay. Oh, my bad. Correct. 1 second, because you asked me a specific question. You said, do I have a wait, can you repeat that question one more time? My bad, bro.
Tell me the time at which, right? You can give me a quality that
Okay.
justifies consent being valid.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't want to speak on this, right? Because this is the so
Okay,
do you
then
see?
bye-bye.
So do you see?
Bye-bye,
Yeah,
brother. It should be really easy. It should be really easy. But it's not. Running away. Okie dokie, loves. Q-Top, you are the one that has kicked me, I think, maybe 5 or 6 times. Do we want to make this a Q-Top Will live? Okay. We'll do it one more time.
yeah, bro. Yeah. So, bro,
Oh,
can you
Q-Top,
stop
I'm
being a
just gonna
coward and
ask one
stop
more
kicking
time. I'm just
people,
gonna ask
bro?
one more time. Can
Bro,
you
can
give
you
me the
stop being a
quality?
coward? Can
Can
you
you
stop
give me
being
the
a
quality
coward,
in a
bro?
person? Can you give me a quality in a person that justifies consent being valid.
Will, would you like me to answer your question?
Yes, please. I've asked it 4 times, and you have run away from it
Okay.
every time. And I would love a real answer. Thank you very
if
much.
I answer your question, will you answer a question from me?
No, it's my life.
No, yes, 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 Will, yes. That's exactly what I thought. That's exactly what I thought, Will, because you're a coward. You're a coward. Oh my gosh. Will, bro, I love you as a man, but you need to repent of your homosexuality.
I love many
You
people
will
as a
burn
man,
in
quite
hell.
roughly
What
as
you
well.
do is unnatural. You're unnatural, brother. You need to repent, and because, brother,
I'm
I'm telling you, there's a
unnaturally
reason why
skilled,
God
brother.
made hell.
But I'd
There's
love
a
an answer
reason
to
why
your
God
to the
made no
question.
people just like you, bro. You're gonna burn in a lake of fire, and I love you, bro. So I'm only gonna tell this. Repent and believe, man. Jesus Christ
Look,
loves you,
a
man.
lake of fire sounds
Jesus
kind of hot,
Christ loves you.
honestly.
Okay, can you prove that God doesn't exist? Can you prove the Bible is false? Can we get into the logical, ontological, theological, and philosophical
Wait.
argumentations?
So the thing is, Q-Top, I don't
Come
speak
on,
to people that
please.
can't answer. Like,
Oh
wait,
my gosh, man. I love this, brother. Yo, that's why I
Q-Top,
follow Will,
Q-Top,
man. I
one
have a special
second.
place in my heart for
Q-Top,
you,
calm
man.
down.
No, Will.
Can we take it from here to here?
Will, no, but Will, in all seriousness though, bro, and this is bro, like whatever you say, whatever, I
But like,
I
stop
follow you
speaking
because
for like 2
I
seconds
love you,
because this
bro.
isn't a
I love
discussion.
you. I think
If you want
I
to
think
speak,
you're a
you can
very
go on your
smart
live,
guy.
love.
No, Will, don't kick me. I'm done. Will, don't kick me. I'm mute.
Okay, stop speaking for 2 seconds, Q-Top. Are we able to do that?
It's all you, bro. Go ahead.
Can we do that? Are we able to do it?
Yeah, but I just want you to prove God doesn't exist.
No, so stop speaking. Wait, so
Okay.
stop speaking.
Okay.
Hear that sound? It's a lovely sound, everyone. I don't. Sorry. Wait.
I love this dude right here,
So
bro.
stop speaking. Stop speaking. Thank you.
Bro, somebody
I
said.
don't speak to people. 1 second. No.
Oh, Will.
I don't. No. Shush.
Will, what you're about to say is
Stop
not.
speaking. No. I'm not. I need to get a sentence out, love. I don't speak to people that can't answer when children can consent. And he ran away again. That's incredible how that works. Okay. So we're going to do this. If you disagree with this, send a guest request. If you do not disagree with this, don't send a guest request. Cool? So if you agree with me, I love you dearly. I love you so much. But I don't want to speak to you. You can DM me. Did I finish high school? Yes, I did. Yes, I did finish high school, and I'm now at the best university in the world. Okie dokie, let's keep on going. Hello.
Hold on 1 second. Got to turn my camera on and turn it back off. That stupid TikTok glitch. Yeah, I would like to debate the topic behind you, but I disagree. But can I say something about the last person you had real quick?
Nah, he's a dipshit. He doesn't need more attention.
Okay, no. Well, I was just about to say I'm a Christian, and he is a disgusting representation of what we do. Please stop inviting that guy on. He's going to end up on a database for whatever. Okay, anyway, I don't know you well, but I like people bringing attention to this type of things. So here's my opinion on this. One, I live in America, former military. I'm more of like, hey, let's just get this issue resolved without people on both sides being unalive more than it kind of has to be. So the U.S. funding towards Israel, 100% of it's not going to the military. In fact, if you sum up everything, it's only about 1% of their gross domestic product. I don't believe cutting it would actually have an impact either way. Secondly, H Group is over here sifting funds from Qatar, private jets, doing all this stuff, buying weapons. So I just disagree with the claim because I don't think it's going to make an actionable result, even if we did, just based on the we give them funding based more on brand name because you have Jordan and you have Egypt like bordering and all this other stuff. But I just kind of want your opinion from a quantitative standpoint about if it would actually have a large impact, because maybe you might know something that I don't.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to note, just 'cause we are on a live. Thank you, Parker, for the raid. Thank you for the Parker raid. Much love. We're almost at 1,000 people. If everyone in Parker raid send likes, share it. That would be great. We can get more eyes and ears on the issue, which is always good. So thank you so much. That's what this live is for. As to this, this is not the only action I support, right? This is just one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Right.
was just looking at
So
the
I think it's obvious that it would have some effect, right? Like U.S. military spending and U.S. military support, both directly and indirectly, have been integral to Israeli, strategy for the past 20, 30 years. They have been, right? If that's the direct military integration, intelligence integration, if that's the direct military funding or the mutual work on technologies or the sharing of IP, right? Or the mass amount of Israeli IP in America, protected in America and vice versa, right? Those type of integrations are integral to Israel's military policy. And I think it's very clear that if they lost that, they would lose quite a lot. And then secondarily, there's the diplomatic wing. There's the diplomatic wing of us using our Security Council vote to veto everyone else in favor of Israel. Us using, for example, all of the Abraham Accords were done with that. We got Morocco by recognizing West Sahara. We got Sudan by taking them off the terrorist watch list. We got Egypt and Jordan, right? We got the UAE for relatively nothing. So all of those things were American diplomatic and economic clout. So the American support, by and large, right, is very, very integral to who recognizes Israel as a state and Israel's overall maintenance and stability within the area. So when I talk about this, the military funding is the most obvious one, right, and direct one, and easiest to discuss on a live in about 10 minutes. But the diplomatic and military ties are insanely tied, and I just believe that by and large America should not be giving a blank check to Israel diplomatically, militarily, and economically if they are a disgusting ethno-state.
Yeah, so I guess going back to your point, I think we can both come to the middle and say that, hey, like a lot of our tax money is going to other places, not just Israel, when we have like homeless people here and stuff like that. So I think we can meet in the middle and both agree on that. But in your personal opinion, I mean, so in the desensitized Middle East, right, it's really hard for Palestinian citizens. One, I don't believe that the H group represents them as a whole. I believe they're a T group personally. But, I mean, what do you think is the way ahead here? Because, like, you have Egypt building the third wall. Jordan's not going to help out. I mean, what else is there?
Well, the question is why? Why is Egypt not helping?
Because they want to maintain the integrity of their citizenships, similar model to what the United Arab Emirates do.
So why did they not 40, 50 years ago when they did help Palestine?
Okay, maybe I haven't read that far deep in, but if you would like to enlighten me on that, I would love to know.
Well, from my view, what it primarily has to do with is Western support.
Okay.
It's Western support that's driving it. The West was what got the Oslo Accords, the Abraham Accords, and the Camp David Agreement, which solidified, right, certain Arab states to break the the promise that they made not to recognize Israel, right? They broke that promise. I'm forgetting what the agreement they made was. It's named after a certain city.
What year was
the
it?
Marrakesh Agreement?
What year was it?
I don't remember the year. But anyway, there's a term for it. All the Arab countries came together, promised themselves never to support Israel.
Oh,
Not the
I know what
Oslo
you're
Accords.
talking about, but I can't put the name on it. But I totally get you.
Yeah.
But yeah, are you familiar with?
Someone in the comments has it.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Anyway, please proceed, brother.
Yeah, but so they have these international agreements not to ever recognize Israel. They broke them because of Western support, and now Egypt is trying to maintain ties economically and diplomatically to America, and so is Jordan. Jordan's one of our most important intelligence allies in that area because we support their monarchist regime within there, right? We see a similar thing why we were almost close to normalizing relationships with Israel and Saudi Arabia, right? And why Iran is supporting Palestine against Saudi Arabia. It's a complicated situation. And it's not as simple as saying, well, no one's going to help the Palestinians. Well, people do want to help the Palestinians. The West isn't really letting them and is violating that Arab brotherhood. So what do I see as the way forward? By and large, I think probably the best thing you could do is to reunite the Arab countries in the way that it was previously, and
I
that will
agree.
break the Western hegemony, which I'm against anyway.
Okay.
So you set up something like an Arab trustee state in the area, to establish to nation build effectively. And don't put it in the West's hands, because that's like almost literally never worked except for Western nations, right? It didn't work in Afghanistan, it didn't work in Iraq, it didn't work
Oh,
in
dude,
Iran.
you're telling me about Afghanistan, man. I went there for a little bit of time, and I'm pretty disappointed with like back when I was in the military. I'm very disappointed with how that ended. I'm like, all that work for nothing. But I mean, so in regards to obviously two-state solutions out the window, that's been tried 12 times, and a majority of them has been in favor of the Palestinians. So I firmly believe,
None of
like
them have ever been in favor of the Palestinians. Not a single one.
1930. So 1936, where it was like an 80-20 split. Do you agree with that one?
1936 was never proposed formally.
Okay, then. Okay, yeah. So I'm not trying to play trivia. I'm trying to make sure I'm dishing this right. But if
No,
it
yeah,
was,
none of them. No, not a single one of them were ever fair to the Palestinians in terms of proportion of population to size. 1936 is one that was proposed in the UN, but it was never put through. Or not the UN. I believe it was the League of Nations at the time. But it was proposed right by an individual. But it was never like ratified by any given group, and it was never actually like given to the Israelis or the Palestinians. Also, the understanding of who the Israelis and Palestinians at the time would be very different than what we're talking about now, right? Like the IDF as a whole didn't even exist
that's fair.
at the
Yeah,
time.
I totally agree. So I guess last question that I have, because I don't really, so like there's a lot of lies people go on and fight with each other. I just wanted to offer my opinion. What do you think is the way ahead in the future? You know, because everybody
Yeah.
thinks it's a simple solution, but it's really not.
Well, there's a simple solution now, which is an
Okay.
immediate ceasefire.
Yeah, but
That's really simple.
every time there's
That's
a
mega simple.
ceasefire, somebody violates it, though.
Israel does.
Okay.
So yeah, Israel needs to stop doing that. So if Israel stops being I'm just going to use some words here, racist, fascistic state that is aggravating its neighbors, right? That's the first step. Israel could stop causing problems, and then we can solve the problems that it's made in the past, right? So you first stop causing the problems, and Israel isn't stopping to cause the problems.
So like
But it has been made complicated
okay,
problems
but
in the
hold
past.
on a second. Okay, so here's where I kind of want to like lean it left here. Age group. So
Yep.
I don't agree they need to be running around and doing what even to their own citizens, to include, you know, partying up in Qatar, taxing, lynching. Like, are we gonna ignore all of that? I mean, they're a T group by textbook definition.
Yeah, and what's interesting is they're a T group that was supported by Israel, right?
Okay,
They were funded by Israel.
hold on a second. What do you mean by supported by? I don't agree with
They
that.
were monetarily funded. So the charity that had jihadist beliefs that later became Hamas was economically funded by Israel. And according to internal reports, right, that have been leaked, it was Netanyahu's policy up until 2018 to support Hamas in internal Gazan politics, because he actively wanted to destabilize Fatah and the PLO within that area.
So why are they flying? So why are they going to Qatar and getting support from there and then coming back? Like, their photos are all over them in their fancy private jets and all this other dumb stuff, and then coming back to Gaza and just causing all this terror.
Yeah, so why are they a terrorist organization? Because they're a terrorist organization.
No,
The point is
no.
they're a terrorist organization that was created foreign by Israel, right? That it's interesting to talk about. But I think by and large, how we can characterize that is a problem made by Israel that now we are saying we need to solve for Israel.
So
And when we look at it that way, the answer becomes really clear, which is that Israel's not going to be the solution to this. Right? How do we stabilize areas that have terrorist organizations with them? Well, we don't continue the regime that made the terrorist organization. Right?
So
This is why America was really bad against the Al-Qaeda, by and large. Why it was really bad against,
and I was in that area,
because
and
they
I
hate it, because they're the reason that it exists in the first place. So Israel, as long as it consistently has a schedule and a goal of agitation against the Palestinians, it will do nothing but support terror in its neighbor, because that benefits it. it benefits it diplomatically. We can go into the larger argument there, but what's the solution to Hamas? The same solution that we have to every other terrorist organization, which is you stabilize the region. You economically incentivize stabilization rather than terror, rather than violence. And that's what's worked pretty much everywhere. That's what worked in Ireland, right? You stabilize the region, you engage with the demands of the people, and you stop the act of oppression that justified the terror.
So who's going to stabilize it, though, if the Arab powers are staying out and H group is a terrorist order? Like, who physically? Because I know Western power is a bad idea, because, once again, we tried to energize the ANA, and they folded in like 3 weeks, which I'm still mad about that, but who's going to...
So the question is, why are the Arab countries staying out of it? I think that is because of the West. By and large, what I'm saying is if the West stopped messing with them, if the West stopped actively, economically, and diplomatically disincentivizing the Arab countries from coming together and supporting the Palestinians, they would come together and support the Palestinians. We've seen that before. It's just the fact that it's in the West's diplomatic interest, by and large. There is some interesting discussions to be had regarding which of the Arab countries would come together now, especially now that the West has pushed the Shia-Sunni divide a lot more between Iran and Saudi Arabia, right? The monarchists and theocrats separation is an interesting discussion. But I think by and large that is fueled by Western influence and the alliance and the reliance of the monarchists on the West. So it's kind of a complicated issue, but by and large, the West is the issue. Is they are incentivizing bad regimes and bad policies within certain places in the Middle East that are stopping the Middle East from supporting the Palestinians, which if we stop doing those policies, the Middle East would be able to step in. Okay, well, it was good getting to chat. I think we were going to go talk in circles, but I think you brought up some points I'll do some more research on. I'm not going to say you're 100% wrong, because once again, I was part of that regime that Afghanistan just was a waste of 20 years. Please keep Q-Top away from little girls, and have a good one. Thanks. Peace out. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Hello.
How you doing?
Doing real well. How about you?
Doing well, dude. So, quick question. The topic that you have, is it because you're just pro-American economics?
God, no. No.
Or is it just you're just
I'm just anti-war crime.
Sorry?
I'm just anti-war crime.
War crime. So I'm guessing you're talking about like the civilians and babies being murdered by the IDF.
Well, I mean, a huge amount of violations of international law committed by the IDF. Yeah.
Let's go with the 20. Is it 20,000 now? That's numbers. Is it more than 20,000?
By liberal estimates, yeah, it's 20,000.
How many of those are actual terrorists? Do we know?
No, by my most recent estimates, it's up to 18,000 civilians.
But how come we don't know how many terrorists were killed? How come Hamas isn't...
Because Israel keeps killing the reporters that would be reporting that.
But Hamas is the one that's giving us the figures of 20,000, right?
Well, a partially Hamas-run organization is giving us some of those figures. Some of them are being independently verified by the reporters that are still living there. You know, what we do know is that if you wanted better information, Israel should stop killing the reporters that are there independently.
Fair. How come Hamas is not telling the world how many terrorists have been killed?
Well, I think there is a number there. I just don't think it's being reported because of the obvious bias based in that number.
Wait, but why is it Hamas? How come, you know, there's every IDF soldier that's fallen, there's a name, there's a badge number, it gets publicized within 24 hours. How come Hamas doesn't
so once again, I do believe Hamas is releasing a number similar to that. I do not believe it is being repeated and widely spread by Western media because they do not trust it for good reason.
But I have never heard of a single number brought out by Hamas saying how many terrorists have been killed.
Once again, I'd encourage you to look at it, but I would also love to know what your point is.
No, because they keep just saying how many civilians have been killed, but they don't say how many terrorists. Now, well, we're going to.
So do you have a number?
No, I don't. That's it. I'm perplexed.
Okay, cool.
Why they don't bring out those numbers?
Then let's do a little more than be perplexed. Make an argument.
So the argument is like this: is that they're obviously embedded within the civilian population, right? I'm not the first one to say it. I'm sure you've read
No,
about.
Israel consistently repeats that without providing much, proof of it. But
I mean, U.S. Blinken's been saying that. I mean, everybody in the U.S. is saying the same thing.
I mean, regarding the claims of human shields specifically, though,
I'm not talking about human
an
shields.
independent UN report has stated multiple times that there exists little to no evidence for them consistently using human shields.
I didn't say human shields. I said that the Hamas were embedded within the civilian.
Okay,
And that has been proven.
It's not that far.
Sorry?
That's not those claims are intrinsically quite similar, but
Not really. I mean, when you say human shield, I picture, I'm a terrorist, or I'm a soldier or a freedom fighter, and I have literally a baby tied to my chest, or I'm hiding behind a pregnant woman while shooting at soldiers. That's how I
understand what you're describing. That's not really what we mean when we say human shields. But okay, cool. They're
Alright,
embedded in the civilian population.
All right, so now you agree that Hamas is a terrorist group.
We can discuss that. I condemn Hamas.
You said that in you said that with your previous caller.
Make it relevant, make an argument, and then we can discuss the implications of your premises.
So I'm getting there. So Hamas is a terrorist group. Israel needs to eradicate Hamas. Hamas is intertwined with civilians. How does Israel go about eradicating the terrorist group that created this horrific attack on October 7th? To protect
the IDF is a terrorist organization. How should the Palestinians go about eradicating the IDF?
I asked you first. I asked you a question.
No. I think my answer is when the answer is the IDF is a terrorist organization. How do you suggest the Palestinians get out the IDF? Right? It matters.
Come on, Will. Come on. We're adults, right? We're having a debate. I asked you a question. You don't answer my question with another question. Answer me. IDF.
No, you understand what I'm saying. 1 second. You understand what I'm saying.
Of course.
Which is that this is war, right?
So hold on. So if it's war,
so I'm trying to answer you. If you're going to bitch and moan about me answering your question, what should you let me do?
Go ahead.
Answer it. Wonderful. So what do we do when terrorists are within civilian populations, right? We've seen examples of this, right? Osama was living within a civilian population. A huge amount of terrorist organizations. Like, you think the Taliban has separate military areas? Do you think militias, right, which are incredibly common? Switzerland's a militia state. Militias exist throughout the world. It's just a different type of warfare. It doesn't, and international law accounts for the existence of militias, right? What we do is we send in special ops when it's incredibly urgent, right? We send in special ops that do incredibly precise, targeting to the leaders who, by the way, the leaders from Hamas are living in Qatar, so they don't really, bombing Gaza doesn't really make sense to take out the leaders of Hamas.
Well, Hania is in Gaza.
There are a series of leaders, but some of them live in Qatar.
Right.
But as to the point, is what you do, not this, right? You don't unilaterally cut off food to the civilians. You don't unilaterally cut off water to the civilians. You think Hamas was the first one to think of living within civilians, right? No, obviously not, right? Most, Russia lives within civilians in some cases, but it doesn't justify us killing Russian civilians. So the thing is what, from my view, the best solution, genuinely, would be to stop giving them reasons to be violent. Okay, Hamas is not violent for no reason. I don't support Hamas. I'm not justifying Hamas, but they are not violent for no reason, right? You could predict, right, if someone told you the conditions within Gaza, that there would be terrorism within that area. If you looked at the economic conditions and the oppression they were under, you'd be like, yeah, there is basically no situation where there isn't violence here. So Hamas is a symptom, not the problem itself. So you solve the problem itself, which is the absolute oppression and occupation that they've been under since 1948, right? And once that's solved, if there is, there may be still excess institutions that are overly violent or overly extremist. Those are dealt with and typically themselves, but can moderate, be internationally moderated, like we saw in Serbia and Kosovo. Right, we've seen these structures work before. But I think the Israeli position of Hamas goes first, along with anything remotely close to it, and then we can kind of pretend to talk about things that are, in any way humane. I don't think that's the order. I think you solve the problem first, and then you deal with the symptoms after. But you've got it backwards.
Okay, so in 2005, when Israel took their civilians and rooted it from their homes and gave the region to the Gazans people, that was still an oppression. That was still.
Was Israel in line with the international obligations that they had at that time?
You keep answering my questions with another question. I'm trying
No. So you asked me a question, and it's really, really simple if you answer it. Was Israel within its international obligations at that time in 2005?
Israel won a war in 1948.
Can you answer my question? Because you've answered none of my questions yet. Could you answer my question?
I thought I have.
Yeah, it's a yes or no question. Was Israel in 2005 within its international obligations when it pulled out of Gaza?
Yes.
No, they weren't. Okay, cool. That's why I asked the question. It's to see if you actually know or if you're just going to arguably disagree. No, they were not. Okay? The international obligation is to return to the pre-1967 borders. Pulling out of Gaza was a tactical move that was required, and the official reasoning for that tactical move was demographic shifts, right? That was not to protect the Palestinian people. That was not to respect the Palestinian people's right to self-actualization or autonomy. It was because they're racist, and they didn't want Arabs, and they didn't want Palestinians to be within their land and be able to vote within their land and be able to be part of Israel, because they want a Jewish state. So when we talk about 2005, the reasoning that they gave is really, really important. And the official reasoning that they gave for Gaza wasn't out of care for Palestinians, wasn't out of care for international law, wasn't out of protection of the Palestinian women and children, right? Wasn't to reduce terrorism in the area. None of those. It was a racist apartheid policy that wanted to keep Arabs out of the land because they knew that if there were more Arabs in the land, it would threaten the Jewish majority that Israel is fundamentally based on. Okay, so yes, the actions in 2005 100% are not only a symptom, but are the fundamental problem that Hamas is fighting against, which is the Zionist apartheid state. So yes, that is still oppressed, and they are. And also, since 2012, they've had a complete air, water, and land blockade. Okay, and that is both an act of war and an act of occupation. So since 2012, they have been occupying Gaza. Okay, so if you want to talk about the brief 7-year period, right, where they didn't technically occupy Gaza, we can talk about that. They still had acts of war against Gaza in that time, but that's not the reality now, and that wasn't the reality on October 7th.
Okay, let's agree with that, your assertion that the reasoning that the Israel gave behind it is completely wrong. The fact of the matter is that Gaza was in complete control, Palestinians were in complete control of Gaza at 2005, right? They had money. How come they didn't build up Gaza to be the wonderful area that it could have been? And to point to your apartheid state, do you know how many Arab Muslims are currently living in Israel that are?
And do you know how many Africans were in South Africa?
Hold on a second. Hold on. You're saying they're apartheid, right? You know, there's Muslims and Arabs that are not only in the military, they're in Congress, they're in the Knesset, they vote, they have just as much right as any given Jew.
Do you know how many like black Africans there were in South Africa that were nurses and doctors in the military and in elected positions?
But that's by definition not an apartheid state.
South Africa was an apartheid state?
I'm not talking about South Africa, I'm talking about Israel.
Then I suggest you do know when you speak, because there were black Africans, right, in the military and who could vote in certain cases and were nurses and doctors and were in elected positions.
I'm talking about Israel.
Right? That's not what apartheid is.
I'm talking about
when a country posits its foreign and domestic policy on maintaining a majority of a given ethnicity, the Jewish ethnicity, right? That is a fundamentally racist ethno-state. And when it limits the rights of people of a certain ethnicity that those people have internationally, namely the right of return and the right to family life, right, which are recognized in the UN Human Rights Charter, only based on their demographics, that is an apartheid state. So the denial of the Nakba refugees, right, which they have an international right of return to Israel, right, that is a symptom and the fundamental problem in the apartheid state. Same thing with the rights to enter Area A, B, and C, right, differ whether you are Jewish or Arab, regardless of your Israeli citizenship. That is a fundamentally racist apartheid state. So you can point to exterior examples. This is actually exactly what apartheid leaders in South Africa did. They said, look, there are so many rich black Africans. There are plenty of rich black Africans. They just happen to be the extraordinary minority. And there are plenty of,
Fair enough.
but there are plenty of rich Arabs within Israel. There are plenty of Arabs that do well in Israel, but that doesn't mean that Israel isn't actively working against that ethnicity and isn't actively having racist and fundamentally apartheid-based policies, which they
Okay.
absolutely are.
And how many Jews are in Qatar?
Wait, are we just going to move past the argument? Why are we talking about Qatar, brother?
Because we're gonna.
You're gonna wait.
make
I'm
a
I'm a
point.
gay man. I'm a gay man. That still hurt my neck with that whiplash. That's incredible because I got a
Because
strong
we-
neck, brother. But
like-
what are
Fair
you
enough.
talking about? Are you how? Can I ask how old are you?
Of course, 40.
How old are you?
40.
So you're a fully grown adult.
I'd like to think so. Yeah, I mean, I'm kid at heart.
So
but
you
yeah.
know that that's dishonest as fuck.
Not really. It's not dishonest. When two people are debating a certain topic, and one strongly believes one side, and the other one strongly believes another side, we're just gonna keep going around in circles. But I was getting to a point where.
So you're just not going to engage in an argument then?
No, I will.
Every time you have nothing else to say on something,
No,
you're just going to randomly pivot to something
I was
else.
gonna try to make a point that all the Arab.
Okay,
all the-
try to make a point then.
that all the Arab countries are also apartheid because there are 0 Jews living there, 0 Jews that are in parliament, 0
How many Jews live in Iran?
A lot. I didn't say all of
Is
them.
that 0?
I didn't say all of them. I said
Okay.
most. Right? So then
I mean, no,
Qatar-
you said all.
I did. Okay, I apologize. I'll take that back. A lot of them, if not most.
Okay,
of them-
why are there fewer Jews in, for example,
Hold on.
Saudi
Wait
Arabia
a
than there were
second.
previously?
Wait. Don't say why. Just are they an apartheid state?
I don't think it's relevant to the discussion because I'm not suggesting we fund Saudi Arabia or that we fund Qatar. I don't agree ideologically with Qatar either.
Okay. So you have no problem with any state being apartheid as long as the U.S. is not
Wait,
funding.
no, wait, you're such a liar. Try
Why?
that again.
What did I just say? I just said that you.
Hey,
don't-
we're just going to be silent for 2 seconds. Think back through the past 3 sentences I just said, and then the sentence you just said, and see if those line up.
You said that you have no issues with them as long as the U.S. is not funding them.
No. No,
Right. That's what you. It's literally what you said. Maybe I misheard
it's
you.
not.
Okay.
Okay, I think we misheard. I
Okay.
said I'm not suggesting the U.S. funds them either.
Okay. But are you calling them an apartheid state or no?
I'm saying that's not the discussion.
I'm asking you a question aside from the discussion.
Make it relevant.
That there are.
Do you know
other-
Do you know what a whataboutism is then?
What about? No, I don't actually.
Okay, a whataboutism is when you take. Is when if I said, hey,
actually,
if
I
someone
do.
hits
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
and then I say, hey, that was
Yeah.
mean, you hit me. And then
Yeah,
they
yeah.
say, well, look at all those other people that hit people. Why aren't you talking about them?
Fair.
What they did is also bad. It's just not relevant to you hitting me, brother.
Fair.
So
Listen.
if you want to make a comparison, make a comparison.
I hear you.
Right.
Listen,
But what
I
I
can tell you-
explicitly said was that I don't ideologically agree with Qatar either. I don't ideologically agree with Saudi Arabia either. I
did say
certainly.
that.
Why in the world do you think I would agree with Qatar or Saudi Arabia or the UAE, all of which are monarchist states? Like I'm anti-monarchist first and foremost. So obviously I don't support them, right? And I obviously don't morally support Israel as well. So the whataboutism fails as well because I do actively condemn Qatar and the UAE and Saudi Arabia. So your whataboutism is not only a fallacy. I could believe that Qatar is acceptable for different reasons, but it's also incorrect because I condemn all of them. So please make an actual argument about this, though. Tell me how them denying the Nakba refugees their internationally recognized right of return is not fundamentally racist.
And well, I could say this, that Israel has an obligation to protect their citizens. Over time, the Palestinians that have come in through Gaza have created atrocities in Israel. Israel has a right to protect their citizens. So at what cost? How does Israel do that? If you are a If you are a president of a
Do
country,
you know what the Nakba refugees are?
yes, I have a question for you. If you're a president of a country
So,
and you're
sorry, I don't think you do, because the Nakba refugees wouldn't be coming through Gaza.
I'm just talking about, okay, go ahead. So let's finish that point. Go ahead. Tell me about the Nakba refugees.
What do you think the Nakba refugees are?
As far as I know, was the Nakba happened, I think in 49, 48,
Roughly, yeah.
47, roughly right, where Israel was attacked, right?
I
Six-Day
mean,
War.
Israel illegally and violently claimed independence, right? And
What
then in
didn't
defense, the Arab nations fought against them, yeah.
the UN did not declare Israel a nation? America didn't declare Israel a
No,
nation?
no. The UN did not declare Israel a nation. That's not
The
true.
US.
The US was the first to recognize them, one of
Right.
the first to recognize them, but that doesn't mean that the US declared them a nation. The partition plan required Palestinian consent. The Palestinians did not consent. So the partition plan did not go through. So no, the UN did not declare them a nation.
Okay. So Israel became a nation in 1948 on whose word?
They
How did that happen?
illegally declared independence, yeah.
Illegally declared independence, and then just what? Everybody just sat back and be like, all right, let them do it?
No, that's why the Arab nations, responded.
Okay, and then they responded by attacking, and then Israel won the war, and Israel stayed there. And then what happened? They just decided to let it go. They said, "Oh, we lost the war. We're going to let it go."
I don't understand what narrative you're trying to make.
I'm trying to. Israel is a state today, right? By whether people like it or not. Fair for you, it's unfortunately. I was born there. For me, I'm kind of
Well,
fortunate.
it's a disgusting ethno-state. I don't really support disgusting
Fair
race
enough.
to say
Listen,
ethno-states. But
I am an
the
adult.
point
and I
is
respect everybody.
you're literally talking about the Nakba. So the Nakba happened in 1948 and 1949. In that war, that illegally declared independence for Israel, that involved the expulsion of multiple hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from their land, right, either at the behest of Arab nations or at the behest of Israel, right, in response to Israel's settler violence, right? And now when Israel occupies the land that they illegally expelled civilians from, they have the international obligation to allow those civilians and their descendants to return to that land, which they are currently failing that obligation to do. So that's the controversy. Those people have a right to return and a right to citizenship, right? So when you say that they need to protect their citizens, you are saying they need to protect their Jewish citizens.
No.
Let's be very clear about what you're saying.
No,
because what they're doing is
saying.
they are denying the Arabs, the Nakba refugees, who are by and large Arab, the right to citizenship on the basis of their ethnicity.
They offered them all citizenship.
No, they didn't. Directly following the war, they made quite a facetious offer, for citizenship. But you do not lose. But they have since rescinded that. The refugees, right, of the Nakba, do not have a standing offer for citizenship. That is not true.
Well, they offered them at the beginning, and you said they since have rescinded it. And why have they since rescinded it? Because of all the terrorist attacks that were happening.
Absolutely and totally untrue. They gave one offer for everyone to return, but those were war-ridden still areas.
Okay, so what do you want to do? What do you want them to do then? What do you expect them to do?
Follow international law.
The offer was there, right? If I offer you something,
the offer was facetious. No one was going to go back to that area when there was still... when the Israelis were still attacking and brutalizing Arabs in that area. So no, it wasn't an offer. But once again, they need to follow international law. That's what I'm asking. You're like, oh, what do you want them to do? What they said they would when they joined the UN, which is respect the right of return to refugees. Okay? And the reason the Netanyahu government has continued this racist policy, they've explicitly said it, is because it offers a demographic threat. Not a security threat, not a terrorism threat. The primary justification has been a demographic threat. There is no way to read a demographic threat in any way other than racism.
Understood.
So if a country is building its foreign policy and violating its foreign international obligations simply on the goal of fundamental racism. I have to believe that racism is fundamental to the country.
You call it racism. I call it protecting their civilians, which happen to be, some of them are Arab and
The
Muslim.
Nakba refugees are their civilians.
I'm talking about today. Israel
Today, the Nakba refugees are their civilians. They just don't recognize them as such.
Because they gave them a shot to come back and they didn't.
They are internationally recognized them as their civilians.
Okay. Do you want to go to a different topic, or do you want to just stay on this thing? I understand. We can agree to disagree. Like, I'm an adult.
Okay.
Like I said,
Israel, I mean, it's pretty fundamental to any argument we have that Israel's a fundamentally racist ethno-state, right? But if you think there's an argument where that's not a fundamental disagreement we'll have, I'm happy to have that. If you want to move on.
For one, I'm an Israeli and I'm not racist. So I know a lot of Israelis that are not racists. So I don't know if you...
I didn't say that every Israeli was racist, so...
So you're saying that the state of Israel is racist?
Is fundamentally built on racism, yeah.
Which means their civilians are racists. No? Does that... what is that? What's the difference?
A state is separate from its civilians.
Isn't the state consist of the civilians, though? I mean, don't the
it
civilians...
does, but it's a separate. It's a fundamentally different entity. So America is built on imperialism. I am an American, but that doesn't mean I have to be an imperialist.
Okay. And if somebody called you an imperialist because you're living in America, how would you react to that?
I'd say, by and large, an imperialist is due to your ideology, and you would have to look at my ideology. And I would say I, by and large, disagree with imperialism, and I disagree with the construct of America, by and large.
Okay. So. Same as me. I disagree with racism, by and large. I'm not racist. I don't have racist.
I disagree with the settler colonial state of Israel.
I have Palestinian friends. I have Arab Muslim friends. It's very
no one
different.
cares. I never made this about you. I don't know why you made this about you.
No. I'm not making it about me. I'm just saying that me being Israeli who was born there, I didn't serve in the IDF. I left when I was younger.
Don't care 2.0. Like, I literally just don't care. Like, it just doesn't matter at all in any way, shape, or form.
Fair enough. All right. Well, Will, it was a pleasure talking to you. I appreciate the knowledge. I wish you all the best. Have a great night.
Peace out. Cool. Cool. How we? Okay. I feel like pragmatic politics, like, I think you agree with me? Yeah? Do you agree with me? Hello? What's the disagree on?
Hello?
Hello?
Hold on, you sound like a robot. I think I can hear you.
Oh, yeah, you have horrid internet. Sorry. Hello.
Hi.
What did you send a guest request to disagree on?
I'm sorry. Let me turn my sound up. What did you say?
What did you send a guest request to disagree on?
You're speaking a little bit too fast for me. I'm sorry.
What did you send a guest request to disagree on?
Oh, I was just listening to your narrative. You know, it's a narrative I hear quite often by Americans.
Do you disagree with it?
I do it totally, yes, very much so.
Okay, on what basis?
I don't disagree with some of what you said. America is imperialistic. Okay, that was how we began. I wouldn't say we're imperialistic any longer as a nation.
Hard argument to make when we have extraterritorial status in like most countries in the world, but
right. But see, America is a pluralistic society. Israel is not pluralistic. Israel is a society from its inception, which goes back over, 3,000 years, is a land for
not really.
Oh, well, okay, so you can disagree with the Torah, but that's my...
Yeah, the Torah is wrong. It claims that a God exists and
the
that
Torah made a
snakes talk,
mistake.
so...
God did not make an everlasting covenant with the Jews, as said in the Torah. But if you disagree with that,
That's quite all right. But nevertheless, that's what the Jews that are observant believe in Israel. Now,
Yes, and they're wrong.
we have seen in Israel a very recently, when Netanyahu formed his most recent coalition, that the scales were tipped towards the religious groups. Would you agree with that or not?
Yeah, by and large, the religious extremists, especially the
Well, you
Orthodoxy.
can call anybody religious extremist. That's a common belief by most people today, but it's not necessarily. If you're religious, you can feel very much in the middle of the road. So this is something.
No, they just also happen to be religious extremists.
Well, there's
Like
also
there are religious people, and then there are religious extremists, and the
right,
people that support
exactly.
Netanyahu and built a government with them is religious extremists.
In Israel, we now have a tipping of the scales, and because of what's recently happened on the 7th of October, Israel was in the press. You can see it everywhere. Was having what people thought was going to be a revolution as a result of this new coalition, which was stuffing the high courts in its image, much like Trump put 4 Supreme Court justices on the court, and most recently Biden has put 2. I mean, we usually stuff our courts by our political objectives. It's not unusual, but
I mean, Netanyahu fundamentally undermined the rule of law in Israel by bypassing the Supreme Court. Yeah, he did a little more than stuff the courts with people that agreed with it.
His coalition. He represents his coalition like a liberal Democrat would represent its point of view.
Yeah, but no one has the right to fundamentally undermine the rule of law and bypass the checks and balances within their government.
The Israeli law has not been fundamentally in any way undermined. It is a country of law.
But what's your point regarding the issue here? One second. What is your point regarding the issue at hand?
My narrative.
So 1 second. No. What is your thesis?
I'm trying to give it to you.
Give me the thesis now, and then we can talk through the argument.
Okay. Israel is an apartheid nation. That is its goal. It wants to separate the Jewish people from the Arabs.
Great, I agree with that.
That would be
this is why I asked you for the thesis. I agree we don't need to go into the argument. That's why I did that.
That's my thesis.
I agree with this thesis. Now, we don't need to go into your whole argument. See how that works? So where do we disagree? I agree Israel's apartheid.
Okay. And why are they apartheid?
Because they're racist.
No, because they want a Jewish state. Now, if that's racism, would you call the Japanese racist? They have a Japanese state.
I would call them racist.
Racist. They want a Korean state.
I would.
Okay, so that's what Israel wants and is accomplishing.
And they are being racist in it.
We will see.
Also, Japan. Wait. I love these examples. 1 second. Yes, Japan is one of the most racist, xenophobic countries in the world.
It is.
Korea is extraordinarily xenophobic.
Exactly.
Have you ever talked to an African American who went to Korea, or talked to a black person who went to Japan? Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. I'm telling you. America is not like that at all. It's more of a melting pot which has never melted. That's
so.
What
wait, no. So this is why I ask you for your thesis first. What are you trying to point?
No point. I'm just explaining to you.
Sorry. Did someone just say Japan? Sorry, I'm just going to respond to someone. Someone is spamming Japan didn't ethnically cleanse people. Bro, what? Talk to a Korean about Japan ethnically cleansing. Bro, what? Japan didn't expel the indigenous people? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Are we forgetting the whole entire Japanese Empire era? What are you talking about,
bro? What you're looking at over there, just as you're going to see those facts present themselves in Israel. They will have a one-state solution. It's going to be Israel. It's not going to be a West Bank.
Yeah, and that's disgusting. Do you have an argument like that I'll disagree with? Yeah, they want a one-state solution, and they're disgusting for it. Do you think they're disgusting for it?
You think they're disgusting because that is their destiny, as described in Torah?
I think it's disgusting because they think that's their destiny, in the same way we thought manifest destiny was our thing.
It's the manifest. They have the right and they have the need and they have the power, and they will do so.
Why do they
Because
have the right to
those
do
that
it?
were the secular Jews are diminishing. They are going to embrace this because of what happened on 4/7. You know who got destroyed on 4/7? Those were all secular kibbutzim. Those people who were having a rave, that was on Simchas Torah. Those people weren't religious. They were the
Okay,
seculars. They're
just
the
pause
ones.
for a
Wait
second,
a
brother.
second. Wait a
1
second.
second.
They were the
Pause.
ones who would
Pause.
make peace with the
Whoa.
Gazans, and now the
Bro, I'm
Gazans
gonna
pissed on
continue
them.
talking over you until you stop
Well,
speaking.
you wouldn't let me finish. Now I'm finished. Go
No,
ahead.
because you're no. The reason I'm gonna do this, that's not what this conversation is.
That's what my conversation is. You have yours,
Then
baby.
but it's not your conversation.
Well, you're the host. You can knock me out.
I know, but can I ask how old you are?
How old do you think I am? Let me ask you. Just make a guess. We'll play, pick the age,
53.
and someone's gonna get a cootie doll or something. A koopy doll. How old do you think I am?
53.
I'm 72.
72. Then can I ask you to act like it?
What does acting like that mean? What do you act
Not
like?
acting like a child and ranting.
What do you think you are? You're acting like a wise old man?
So let's let other people
You think
speak,
you're
'cause it
acting
means
like a
letting-
wise
it
old
means having a
man?
two-way
You want to attack
discussion.
my age?
Well, no. I'm attacking your lack of maturity, not your
Oh,
maturity.
you think so? Oh, you think so?
I do.
Okay, well that's your privilege, I guess. You know, you can instead of attacking
It
the
is, and I'm
argument
actuating
appropriately,
it.
you want
But
to
once
attack
again,
the
what that
person.
means
That
is,
is a
as
very
a adult, you
juvenile
should let
thing
other
to
people.
do, my
As
friend.
an adult, you should let other people speak.
You can. I'll let you speak. You're sure.
Okay, so stop
you're the host.
speaking then, because that
But to
necessitates
attack
that you
me
stop.
personally, instead of an
I didn't
idea
attack
that
you
we're trying to
personally.
share, you call
I
that
asked you to
mature?
act maturely. If you think, well, I asked you to act maturely. If you think you're failing on that, that's a different thing.
I don't think I'm failing on anything, my friend.
So let's calm down for a second. The reason I stopped us, and it shouldn't have taken this long to stop us, okay, but it did, and here we are.
Here we
is
are.
Because you are going on a rant. I am trying to have a two-way discussion. A two-way discussion and a rant are very, very different things. I don't want to hear your rant. If you want to go rant to a wall or a corner. If you want to have a discussion or an argumentative discussion, I'm very here for it. So how that works is I have to know what you're trying to prove when you're making a point, right? You can't just go on a 10-page monologue and then at the end make the point. I need to understand where you're coming from and understand what you're trying to say. So if we could try to have a discussion where I know what you're trying to get at first, and then we discuss proving it, that would be great.
What
Right?
are you trying to get at? Let me ask you, Mr. Host. What are you trying to get at?
Well, I don't know
You looking
really
for
where we
truth?
disagree. So the thing is, I don't really know where we disagree. I don't know where to place myself in this discussion.
You don't know what your beliefs are?
One second.
You don't know what your
You
beliefs
asked me a
are?
question. 1 second. When you asked me a question, what should you let me do?
I asked you a question. Do you know what your beliefs are?
So when you asked me a question, what should you let me do?
I asked you the question. What do you want to say? Are
So
you
what
gonna
should
give
you
an
let me
answer?
do?
Or are you
When you
going
ask
to
me a
pose another
question?
question?
1 second. So when you ask me a question, what
Yes?
do you let me do?
What do you want to do? Suck your thumb? Tell me.
You let me answer it.
Okay, thank you. Now you got now we've got the basics down.
We didn't seem to before. So you asked me what my position was. Well, that's relevant to what yours is. This is obviously my position. I believe this, right? But I also, by and large, agree that Israel is an apartheid state, which you and I agree on, right? I believe
I
that
agree
that's
on your
disgusting.
premise up there.
1 second.
I agree
One
on your
so-
premise up there.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that. I think they're on the nipple, Israel. They need to
So
get off
I'm
the
trying
nipple.
to find something we disagree on. You
I
see
don't
how
know.
that requires
Maybe
your help.
maybe we're gonna make kumbaya here. I don't know. I only want to get engaged because I thought you were semi-intelligent and we could talk about a few things. I didn't know what. I don't know where it's going to take us.
Well, you didn't want to talk. You kind of wanted to
I wanted to tell you a
want
few
to-
things that your young mind needs to understand. Yes,
Oh, okay. I'm not here to hear a lecture from you.
it's okay.
So if that's your goal, I'm happy
you
to.
never
You
know
can
what you're
talk
going
to
to
your
get.
grandchildren, or the series of lead in your mind. See how that works, everyone. how cute. Okay. Well, I do think I'm going to go to bed. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because I need to go to bed. Because I'm going to be waking up pretty early tomorrow. Yeah. So I really, really do love everyone. I do love everyone who's on here. I love everyone who sent a guest request. I love everyone who sent a like, who shared it. Thank you so much. 126,000 likes. That is incredible. That is a lot of tapping, you know? I could do a lot of good. Okay. But what I will say is I'm about to get off TikTok. But that doesn't mean I'm gone. And that doesn't mean that you are done with Will content. Okay? It doesn't mean that you're done with Will content. What it means is that you can now go to my YouTube and watch Will content as long as you want. As long as you want on there. I have like 20 hours of there. So go watch that. Okay? Go watch that. There's lots and lots of content on there. And I'm doing that obviously because I think it's a little funny. But do go follow my YouTube. Okay. If you want to go follow my YouTube, I really appreciate that. TikTok does not like me. So my YouTube is a lot better. When will I be live again? I don't know. I don't know when I will be live again because I'm getting my wisdom teeth taken out, everyone. So I just came back from skiing, which was great. And then I am getting my wisdom teeth taken out. So in between, this is what this is, and then I will be incapacitated for maybe a few days, and then obviously the holidays, and then I'm back back in the UK. So I'm a very busy guy. Okay, but I will try and be live as much as I can. Maybe you'll see me with some like cotton in my teeth, whatnot. But I love you all. If I can ask one thing, do go follow my YouTube. It has a lot more impact. It has a lot more like in following. So thank you so much. Okay, excuse me. Other than that, thank you so much for everyone who sent a gift. That really boosts the live quite a lot. And listeners and views, you know Will McCaffrey is a liar. Well, live, laugh, love, lie. Okay, peace out. I'm a dip.